One of the biggest reasons to play Arkham City is the unique atmosphere and aesthetic. I really think that's where a lot of its charm comes from and makes it stand out compared to other comic book adaptations. If the art direction of Arkham City wasn't as distinctive as it is, I highly doubt the game would have been anywhere near as successful as it was, no matter how good the story or gameplay elements are. One of the most interesting aspects of Arkham City is its interesting and very unique art direction. It uses a style called Dark Deco, which is heavily inspired by Art Deco. This style was created by Bruce Timm and was supposed to portray an America where the 1930s Chicago World Fair never ended. There is a sense of timelessness, making it feel like the game could take place at any time in history. Refusing to put Batman into a completely contemporary world, Arkham City is both stylish and extremely dangerous. Arkham City is an amazing mix between modern and vintage Art Deco architecture, held together by a strong noir-type storytelling atmosphere. Batman here is on par with old-school detectives in black and white movies, fighting mobsters, femme fatales, and narrating the whole thing in his head. The old-school noir vibes really shine in this game, especially when you consider how a lot of the characters, and especially villains, are dressed very old-school and some even talk with a transatlantic accent. It makes me wish for a future Batman game that would embrace this even more and maybe actually set the game in the 30s or 40s. Fittingly, the game takes place at night and in winter, with light snow falling and partially covering the surface. Choosing winter as a setting was a great choice, as not a lot of games have such a setting, and there is something very comfortable about winter nights. Have you ever looked at the sky when it's snowing? It's different. It has a light grayish look even at night. The developers managed to capture this in Arkham City, and it makes the game a lot more unique. Arkham City is the main attraction of this game. As I said before, I highly doubt that this game would have been nearly as successful if Arkham City wasn't the main location and didn't look the way it does. Because sure, the previous game, Arkham Asylum, was a success, and that took place inside of an asylum that had limited space and cool gothic art direction, but it was still very limited. The asylum mostly looked like a modern asylum. However, Arkham City's art direction is timeless. Despite having a very strong vintage Art Deco vibe and aesthetic, it could also easily take place in the modern day, or the 80s or the 70s. We don't really know when it takes place, which is faithful to the comics and part of the beauty of Arkham City and the Batman franchise in general. This opens so many possibilities in terms of storytelling, visual storytelling, and gameplay elements. To me, Arkham City is comparable to Rapture from BioShock. Sure, BioShock has an incredible story, fantastic gameplay, and beautiful visuals, but what makes these visuals so special are not the graphics, but the setting. Rapture is a work of art and beauty and one of the most breathtaking gaming locations ever made. Whenever I replay BioShock, I do it for the visuals and the city rather than the story, as amazing as it is, because the level and attention to details dedicated to it by the developers is simply mind-blowing. And I feel the same about Arkham City. Despite the game expecting you to be doing a lot of rooftop parkouring and gliding, they did not ignore the lower levels of the city. No matter whether you're in the air or down in the dark, shady neon-lit streets, it always looks fantastic. Another aspect is how cinematic the game feels. No matter where you are, just stopping and taking a look at your surroundings, especially if done from a rooftop overlooking the city, feels almost like a scene from a movie or comic book. I know how hard to achieve this look can be, so the fact that it works so well here means the developers deserve even more praise. That's why, in my opinion, Arkham City is more than just a Batman game. It's an inspiring work of art the same way BioShock is. Even if the story was awful, I would still love playing this game because of its aesthetic and atmosphere. A good story is important, but if the art direction is not good, it makes it harder to enjoy playing, at least for me. The desire to return to an open world for me is often tied to the world's visuals. And I'm not talking about how sharp the graphics are. Worlds such as Rapture or Arkham City attract due to their unique styles themselves, and they will still look great in 10 years from now because they are not dependent on high-resolution graphics. This is exactly why a lot of games stop being relevant, because graphics will eventually become outdated no matter how good they might look right now. But fantastic and well thought out art direction will never go out of style, because that's exactly what makes it so unique, which is why Arkham City and BioShock are still extremely beloved games and works of art and beauty.